Dr. Pepper, 10-2-4, great drink. Hopefully, if you get too warm, you'll get you a ice cold Dr. Pepper.
What do you mean 10-2-4? Drink went 10-2-4?
Yeah, that's what they used to say, 10-2-4.
Oh, there you go. All right, we'll get to the Dr. Pepper hotline. Very fortunate to have one of our great friends, my namesake, Coach Gene Stallings. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Hey, Gene.
Oh, listen, I'm doing fine. How you guys doing this morning?
You sound great. I guess you got the pizza to the girls while we're making the scrapbook. Did you get that pizza to them?
Right.
Tell me, to me, after you win a national championship, I'm speaking of LSU. They lost all kind of players. They don't seem to. I don't know if they had to have the discipline to enjoy a national championship. In some cases, I think with some teams it's more difficult to get your team ready to play the next year. In some years, it's not. Is there any correlation to discipline in that situation?
Well, first of all, LSU had a great year last year, but their quarterback was exceptional.
Yeah.
And anytime you have a quarterback that performs the way their quarterback does, and you can stay relatively healthy, and your schedule will fit you, you got a chance to win it all, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
What's hard is to repeat. That's the reason we forget what the great job Saban has done and Coach Bryant did when they won year after year after year after year. If I were just going to guess, I would guess that LSU would win 6 or 7 games this year as opposed to winning it all.
Yeah, I think that's right. Barry?
Coach, preparing for an all-SEC schedule, how difficult will that be for these coaches? Normally you have some games on the schedule where you know you're going to win, so you get a chance to maybe look at other guys, look at things you want to do. When it's an all-SEC schedule each week, is that much more important, that much more difficult? What's your thoughts on playing 10 SEC games?
I think that's an excellent idea myself. Everybody plays 2 or 3 of these quote gimme games, and with the situation the way it is, the virus the way it is, every game's going to count. I think whoever made the decision to play all league games made a good decision. It's going to be tougher when you're going to play a league game or a conference game every week. You've got to stay extremely healthy. You've got to be at top of your game every week. As a rule of thumb, most of these teams have 3 or 4 what we refer to as gimme games, and more importantly, it gives an opportunity for a player to heal up. Somebody's going to get hurt during the season, and if they have to play week after week after week, that's extremely tough. But if they have an opportunity to sort of rest some of the players, that's the advantage of the coach.
I think point guards in basketball, quarterbacks in football, if you got 3 of them, Alabama does. They got Mac Jones, who started last year. They got the great player from California. They got Coach Bryant's grandson, Paul Tyson. It was always a little bit shaky for me to keep everybody happy. I didn't want anybody to quit on me, but at the same time, I wanted to play the best player. I wanted to be careful of the way I did things and got guys in to play a little bit more if I was way ahead, because that's the skill position, the quarterback. Is that a little bit of a difficult deal for coaches?
I think it is when you have 2 or 3 outstanding players.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the case of Alabama this year. They've got several that are unproven but are just outstanding players.
Yeah.
And but somewhere along the line, somebody will emerge either in leadership or to be able to advance the ball on 3rd down or what. Somebody will be the best quarterback and be the first team. And I think when that happens, Alabama will be a better football team.
Okay.
Coach, talking about leadership, you always got to have great leaders on your football team. I mean, the coach has got to be a leader, but your players got to lead as well. I would think this year with the virus, trying to make sure these guys do what they're supposed to when they're away from the football facility, not having an athletic dorm, which now they need one more than ever. These guys are all scattered out all over town here. Just how important is it to these leaders to get to these guys and say, look, we got to take care of our business when we're away from this facility. We want to have football. This season means a lot to the guys that are seniors. It means a lot to everybody. How important is leadership this year more than ever?
I think it's probably more important because with the virus and how many people's going to be at the game and who's going to be at the game, it's going to be a lot of decisions that's got to be made, and that's going to affect your team a little bit. Ordinarily, your team would get ready to play. You know it's going to be a sellout. Now, who's going to get tickets? How many tickets are going to be sold, or what about the players' parents? Can they go? It's a lot of unknowns, and I think that's going to affect the team a little bit.
Who did you enjoy? Maybe talk about some games here or rivalries that while you were here that you really enjoyed during your time here when you were coaching, Coach?
Well, I enjoyed all of them really. The Auburn game the Tennessee game is a biggie, and if you don't enjoy playing in Knoxville against Tennessee, then you're in the wrong league. And if you don't enjoy playing against Auburn, whether it's not at home or it's in Auburn, you're doing the wrong thing. Florida was always a team that I felt like did a better job than the rest of us did. Steve Spurrier's team just threw the football better than the rest of us did.
Well, what was it about Coach Spurrier's offense that was so difficult to defend?
Well, first of all, he had a good quarterback. No such thing as playing at Florida without being a good quarterback. And Steve was extremely intelligent. He was a Hall of Fame player himself. He was a Heisman player. He was very competitive. He knew what he wanted, and he recruited good quarterbacks. If I were a good quarterback, high school quarterback, and had a chance to either go to Florida or at Alabama when I was coaching there, I would have gone to Florida. Because we were going to run the football where Florida's going to throw the football. And I thought they were better coached in the passing game than we were.
Yep.
Our listeners will shoot me if I don't ask you how you're doing. I tell you sound great. And I know, and I know you've gotten a lot better. And also they're going to want to know what you're doing. And I know you're feeding the cows or cutting the grass or crap. I don't know what all you're doing.
I live on the ranch, and we've had quite a bit of rain lately, which is a real blessing for us. But I stay busy. I have not been outside very much. Outside, I hadn't left the ranch very much because of the virus, even though I have gone from time to time as far as speaking engagements, things like that. I've sort of shut those down. But every day at the ranch is an interesting day. There's lots to be done. I want the place to look pretty, and it's important to me that we keep things looking nice, and that's one of the things that I put pressure on people.
Well, I talk about the 4 days that I spent in the cabin with you and Pat Dye and Larry Blakeney, and what a 4 days that was. I never could get Pat to figure out that I'd made the coffee the night before. But he always tried to make the coffee on top of the coffee, and you couldn't. He had to raise your hand to get a word in edgewise. But certainly a good friend of yours passed away.
Yeah, well, we're gonna miss old Pat. There's no question about that. He was an interesting individual, and he was very competitive with whatever he was going to do. And his teams all played extremely well, and he was well received at Auburn. What a big job that did as a football coach.
Coach Stallings, every morning I come in, Martin Houston has a show right before for us, so I have to get him out. It takes him forever to get all his stuff out of here. Tell us about Martin Houston. What kind of player was Martin? Was he a good leader? Could you depend on Martin Houston?
Let me tell you a little bit about Martin. This sort of sums him up. We were playing in the national championship game, and it was fourth and maybe one. And if we make it, then the game is pretty well under control. But if we don't make it, and then they take the ball over in good field position, and they've got a chance to score pretty quickly. Well, we gave the ball to Martin Houston because I felt like that he would he would run as hard as he could run, and if anybody could make a first down, it'd be Martin Houston. And we gave the ball to him, and then he made the first down. Now, people don't realize, but if he doesn't make that first down, and all of a sudden the opposing team takes over and they score, and they come back and they score again, then I made a dumb decision by not punting. But so I've always had lots of respect and have had an appreciation for Martin Houston.
Anything bad he did that we can get on into him about? If you even have to make it up, Coach, we need some dirt on Martin.
Say that again.
I says, did he do anything bad? We need some dirt on Martin. Don't talk about only the good things. Name something bad he did.
He didn't do any bad, as far as I know. He was a good leader. He played as well as he could play. He didn't make any difference to him whether he was carrying the football or blocking. And he was going to perform as well as he was capable of performing. I'm Martin Houston, man.
Yeah, he's coaching now. He's helping coach one of his sons. They're playing out there at one of the local high schools here. So he's getting the other side of it, being a coach now. I'm sure he's doing a great job out there.
Before you go, I miss John Mark. So I miss John Mark so much. But tell our listeners about your daughters, what they're doing, where they. I know they've.
Well, I've got a daughter that's just moving into a new house, and so she's extremely excited. And then I've got a daughter that lives in the country of Haiti. They're in the United States by now because the government will not let you go into the country of Haiti and so she misses that. But my children, and I'm extremely blessed. I've got good children and good grandchildren, and they're just a joy to be around. One thing Ruth Ann is doing is she's making a scrapbook for all the children and the grandchildren, and that's something that I think the children and the grandchildren will really enjoy.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you being on, Beebs. You've always been a great friend. Of course,
Wimp, I've always appreciated you and loved watching you coach, and it's just something not the same when old Wimp Sanderson not on the sideline.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Tell Ruth Ann, hey.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you.
Good
Thank
you guys.
All right, there's Coach Gene. He bragged on Martin. Don't tell Martin what he said.
Martin will know it.
I know. No, Martin did a good job for him. All right, let's tell him about Bob Prince and Prince Glover and Hayes.
Prince Glover and Hayes, certainly outstanding attorneys. I don't know if hopefully you can understand what the law is all about, but I doubt it. So they've been serving Tuscaloosa a long time. They get involved in litigation practices. They're actually, not practices. They're really down-to-earth deals. They understand civil and personal injury problems as well as anybody. I would suggest that you call them at 205-345-1234, get an idea of what's going on, and with